How is it going, Database? It's No Data here, and welcome back to another video of Murder Mystery 2. And this is a post-commentating video. I don't do this quite often, post-commentating Murder Mystery 2, but I did want to talk about something. So there I was, just minding my own business, just thinking to myself, and then I came to the realization. I said to myself, man, Murder Mystery 2 is old. Like, seriously, this game is years old. I believe Murder Mystery 2 came out in 2015, maybe like early 2014, but a lot has changed since then, and I wanted to kind of talk about it because there's actually, well, one thing in particular, but there's quite a couple of things that should come back in Murder Mystery 2 because I feel like that'd be pretty interesting. You know, there's a lot of things back in the old Murder Mystery 2 that have been removed, and to this day, I still don't know why. But yeah, we're just going to be getting into that. We're going to be talking about basically old Murder Mystery 2. If you never played that before, it is pretty interesting, and it was a really long time ago. But I'm gonna try to remember everything as best as I can. But I didn't play that much, first of all. You know, I never played Murder Mystery 2 that much, and the old version of Murder Mystery 2 is like a long time ago. So yeah. A lot of people have actually wanted me to talk about like really old Assassin, like when it first came out, but like I never really played back then. Like when it first came out, like when Corrupted Assassin's Creed King was Untitled, I wasn't really playing back then, so yeah. So it's actually pretty interesting that I did play when Murder Mystery 2 came out. But yeah, I'm gonna try to remember every detail that I can, and I really want to specifically get into the bonus rounds because I feel like the bonus rounds of Murder Mystery 2 is pretty interesting, and yes, there actually were bonus rounds. I will get into that. So yeah, Murder Mystery 2 in 2014. The lobby for it was pretty interesting. It's actually rather old. The lobby, it wasn't actually that good, and basically there was like water at the bottom. I know basically the only thing was it was like a city sort of, not like Assassin, but like the city like Italy from Murder Mystery 1. But I feel like that's not a good way to describe it, but there were a lot of buildings, and it was a lot more open than Assassin, and basically there was this bridge, and basically you were able to jump off and dive into the water and swim, and there were like boxes in the water. It was pretty interesting, and I thought you couldn't get out once you jumped down there, but then it turns out there were actually ladders there. So the way that you unboxed like godlies, well, not godlies, but like the way you open case was also a lot different. You'd actually see the godly, well, you wouldn't see the godly, but like you would see the godly pass by a lot more times. And what I mean by like you don't actually see the godly is back then the godlies they were hidden actually, so you didn't know what godly it was until you actually unboxed it. Like it literally never showed the godly, so you had to unbox it to see it for yourself. Nowadays, like, everybody knows what the godlies are. We have the freaking value list, and even when you do unboxings, you can see the godly in the case if it passes by, if you're lucky. But the thing is, you would actually see the godly a lot more when you were unboxing, and the reason for that is the way cases were unboxed was a lot different. Instead of it being random, it actually showed all the knives like sequentially, so it would go through like every knife or every gun or whatever in like a specific order, but the chances were about the same, you know? And the crafting was a lot different. It was honestly a lot better. It was a lot better. Alright guys, think about Murder Mystery X, alright? You know Murder Mystery X's like current crafting system where you take certain weapons and you get something else out of it. That was basically what Murder Mystery 2 had in the olden days, like in 2015. Basically, you would take certain weapons, you would put them together, and you would get another weapon out of it. Nowadays, you have to freaking salvage things, and like, you get parts for it, and then you take the parts, and you make another knife out of it, and it's a lot more complex. I kind of wish it was a lot more like Murder Mystery X, because I feel like the crafting system in Murder Mystery 2, it tries its best to be unique and stuff, like it wants to be really unique and different, but like it just ends up being really confusing, and well, not confusing, you know, you learn about it eventually, but it takes a while to get used to. And I feel like the Murder Mystery X and Assassin format where you just like get something out of what you put in, stuff like that, you know, let's say, you know, I don't really have an example, but for, let's say Assassin, like, you put in Ice Ancient, and crescendo into frost dragons, you will always get free Zendo. It's basically what it is. You put certain knives in, and you will craft a specific weapon. And now in Murder Mystery 2, we got the whole salvage thing, and it's not that good, honestly. You know, I wish the crafting system would simplify itself a bit. And what's especially interesting was there was actually a completely different case that's not in the game anymore. It was called the MLG box, or like MLG crate. And basically you would unbox it and you would get a bunch of MLG stuff. Weapons that are not even in the game anymore. They're not around anymore at all. And you're probably asking, well, what happened to them? Well, apparently the MLG box became like the chroma box, and then later it became the rainbow box, which we actually have today. So the knives that you unboxed from the MLG box actually they went completely reskinned. Alright, they completely changed the look of it, and now they're just a bunch of colors and stuff. And I mean, purple is pretty cool. I definitely like unboxing a purple from the rainbow box, but I do actually miss the MLG case, because that was actually pretty interesting. Again, if you look it up, because you can look up like Murder Mystery 2015 old, you can actually see the weapons in that case, and they're not in the game anymore. They're not on the value list. You'll never see them ever again, because they were like they were reskinned, so they're actually different knives now. They transformed into different knives. But what I really wanted to talk about in this video, ladies and gents, was the bonus rounds. Believe it or not, there actually were bonus rounds in Murder Mystery 2 a very, 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 very long time ago. So basically every couple of rounds, you would play a bonus round that wasn't the same from the basic murder formula. So it's pretty interesting, because there were bonus rounds like all these years ago, and then they were removed and never put back in. Why is that? I'm not sure. But, you know, I hope it gets added back in the future. But first, I'm going to actually explain the bonus rounds, or like what I know the bonus rounds. So I don't know if I memorized all of the bonus rounds in Murder Mystery 2, but I do know a couple. First of all, there was this bonus round called the Wild West, and if you've actually played Wild Revolvers, you'll pretty much know what this is, alright? Take Wild Revolvers, right? And, you know, elimination, alright? Elimination, Wild Revolvers, I believe that's a thing, but I'm not quite sure. And, you know, combine it with Murder Mystery 2, and that's basically what you have. So basically, another way to think about it is Team Deathmatch Sheriff. So, like, there were, like, sheriffs and cowboys, and I don't know what they were called, but, like, everybody would have a gun, and they would be split evenly in a team, and then people would fight as sort of like a free-for-all, but it was team deathmatch basically. And then there was this other one in Murder Mystery 2 that I actually remember, and it's very interesting. It was actually called, well, I don't know what exactly it was called, but it was called like Infected or something like that, and it had very interesting rules. If you ever play Twisted Murderer, which I don't know why you would ever do that, that game is actually pretty bad nowadays, but if you've ever played it, Twisted Murderer actually has Infected bonus round now, so yeah, you can actually play it for yourself if you hop on Twisted Murderer. So basically how the rules were is there was one murderer and everybody else was a sheriff, right? And the murderer wasn't your typical murderer. It was actually a zombie. Like, it would literally look like a zombie, so you would actually know who the murderer is immediately. And this murderer had quite a few disadvantages. You know, the murderer would be pretty slow, I believe, and in Murder Mystery 2, I don't think the murderer, or the zombie, I guess you could call it, the zombie, could not, like, throw knives. But, you know, I mainly remember this on Twisted Murderer, so, like, I know the general rules, but I'm not quite sure of all the details. But the zombie, who was the murderer, had the knife, and a couple of disadvantages, alright? It wasn't your typical murderer. But the thing is, if the murderer got shot, the murderer would actually be able to respawn, because again, it was a zombie. You have to think about it like the murderer is a zombie, so you can't kill what's already dead, you know? So if the zombie dies, the zombie respawns and can try again. But here's the thing, if a zombie kills a sheriff, then they become a zombie too, so a sheriff becomes a murderer. So then, like, let's say the zombie kills one sheriff, now there were two zombies, and then if each zombie kills one sheriff, now there are 4, and like it can stack up pretty quickly. And basically, if time runs out, then the sheriffs win. But if all the sheriffs die, then the zombies win, or the murderers win. But there was actually this really unique one, this really unique bonus round that I've never seen before in a murder game. And it was only in Murder Mystery 2, and it was a pretty interesting one indeed. And it was called Hot Potato. This is probably my favorite, like, bonus round in Murder Mystery 2. This is the one that stands out to me. Like, I vividly remember this bonus round because it was really unique, and it was only for Murder Mystery 2, so it really stands out. And basically, in this round called Hot Potato, basically what you would do is you would spawn in a specific map, alright? You would always be in this very specific map. I think it was the same for Infected, but you would be in this really specific map, and it was like, I don't know what it was, but it was like a swamp, sort of. So you were in like the swamp map. It was pretty open, you know, a couple of trees and rocks, but it was relatively open. And basically, there was like a bunch of innocents, and there was one sheriff. And basically, what the sheriff had to do is, the gun was basically a time bomb, alright? It was going to explode in a couple seconds. So basically, what you had to do is, if you know, it was just given at random, alright? The gun was given at random. So if you had the gun, basically what you had to do is you had to shoot somebody as quickly as you can. It could be any innocent, anybody you want. It wasn't anybody in particular, but you had to shoot somebody as quickly as possible. And if you didn't shoot that person in time, you would explode, alright? You would go boom. And what would happen is, once you shot an innocent, that innocent would not die instantly. What would actually happen is, the gun, the time bomb gun, would go to them. So you would lose the gun, and the person you shot would get the gun. And you actually don't want the gun in this round, because again, it is a time bomb, and if you keep it, if you have the gun, you will go boom. So that's not what you want. Basically, somebody got the gun, they would shoot somebody else, and like, people would keep trying to shoot each other until the time runs out on the gun, and then that person would die. And that would eventually happen, alright? The time didn't really reset for the gun. Basically what would happen is the time would just keep ticking down. So as time progressed, it actually got harder and harder to shoot somebody in time. And then once somebody exploded, another gun was given to somebody at random. So yeah. And basically everybody eventually explodes from the gun, and the last man standing wins. And it is pretty interesting. So yeah, those are the bonus rounds that were actually in Murder Mystery 2. There might actually be more, but I don't, you know, my memory is not serving me correctly. Again, this was like 3 freaking years ago. But honestly, the bonus rounds are really interesting, especially Hot Potato, and it has been like 3 years later, and there are still no more bonus rounds in Murder Mystery 2, which is a shame, because I feel like those should be added. You know, guys, fun fact, Murder Mystery 3, believe it or not, it was actually confirmed by Nicholas a very, 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 very long time ago. But basically, the difference between like Murder Mystery 2 and Murder Mystery 3 was the jump between Murder Mystery 1 and 2 was just one huge update, alright? It was just one huge update. It was Murder Mystery 1, and then it changed into Murder Mystery 2, so it was just one huge update. And what Nicholas actually said about Murder Mystery 3 is basically, instead of doing one huge update, he would do a bunch of different updates until the game eventually changed in the Murder Mystery 3. And sounds pretty exciting, but also pretty sad, because Nicholas doesn't update anymore. So, I don't know, is Murder Mystery 3 canceled? Who knows? I would love to see Murder Mystery 3 again, honestly. That'd be really freaking cool. Like, if Murder Mystery 3 came out, I would probably play it, like, a lot. It would be pretty hype. But I feel like it would have to be one big update, or maybe just, you know, a standalone game. Like, a different game that's not Murder Mystery 2. Like, don't update it, because, you know, people miss Murder Mystery 1 already, so if you update it into Murder Mystery, like, if you get rid of Murder Mystery 2, then that kind of stinks. But yeah, guys, I just want to talk about the old bonus rounds of Murder Mystery 2, because I really just want to share them with you guys. I feel like it was really interesting, and I think it should be added back. You know, Murder Mystery X does have bonus rounds, so this is pretty good, but, you know, I really hope that Murder Mystery 2 adds bonus rounds back in the future. You know, I kind of just wanted to propose the idea of bringing the bonus rounds back, because if bonus rounds were brought back, that would be awesome, honestly. But yeah, guys, that's going to pretty much be it for this video, because I honestly don't remember much else about old Murder Mystery 2. You know, if I had more details, then I would share them with you guys. But again, it was a really long time ago. You can do a bit of research yourself if you want, but that is pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all those other things that YouTube people do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles!